Here we are, together again, but not together, to do another episode of Needless to Say. Doing these remote shows have been a challenge, but it is what it is. Everybody's going to do their part, and hopefully things will get back to normal soon. So, everybody out there, stay safe. We're going to get this show started. Now, Maestro, wash your hands and hit that music.
All right, well, welcome back to Needless to Say. I am Dave, and I'm kind of here with Brad and Craig, who are two very good reasons to stay out of the public and maintain social distancing even after this pandemic is over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, so how have you guys been doing? We're once again doing this just remotely, audio. We've got a better setup, but how was your week, Craig? We'll start with you. How was your week, my friend? This was your first week off of work, right?
Yeah. What day is it?
Yeah.
I've been in my house for a week straight.
Oh my God.
With my wife, it's been great. I'll never complain about work again.
So don't tease me like that though. So I'll never and then work, and I'm thinking talk about, and I get all excited. Like even on a warm spring day, my nipples are as perky, like a cold January morning. Just excited about you never talking about flooring again.
Right. Oh shit. But yeah, no, it's nuts, man. I literally left the house twice this week on short, quick errands, and it's a little stir crazy.
Where did you go?
Nuts. First day I went to get a check from one of the stores that I work for and get it deposited because I had to make my first van payment for the new van.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
How's that new van working out, by the way? Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking fantastic. It's
No
gonna be
miles
great to
on
get the insurance money for it. Don't tell your wife.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so I did that, and then today I actually went out and I went to the grocery store to find it barren and fucking. It's still just so ridiculous, man. I mean, I got stuff, but still, the toilet paper aisles are just completely empty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's things like that. A lot of the meats are gone. Just random stuff. It's funny. There's a lot of like, if you were like, okay, there's a nuclear bomb coming, and I gotta get prepared. Like all that stuff is gone.
Yeah.
like your canned goods. You know what I mean? All that shit is gone.
Yeah, but there's
funny.
some weird things missing too. I've noticed. Like I was in the grocery store 2 days ago, yesterday actually. I took Brad's suggestion. He said his wife's gone a few times at like 4:00 in the afternoon, and it was great. So I went there, and she was pretty spot on. But like you said, the toilet paper and paper towel aisles were scarce to say the least, and there were no eggs. There was plenty of bread. There was plenty of like canned stuff, except for canned vegetables.
Yeah, bread is going to be there because they're still getting their daily deliveries. Bread doesn't sit around on the shelf, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're getting fresh deliveries every day. So you're still going to have that stuff. But yeah, I know what you mean. It was just weird. I was in there. So I was fine. I was like, I got fucking Eggos and giant box of cereal. And fucking Fran was so mad when I got home. But
Can you tell me again about that processed meat thing?
Yeah.
How you won't eat that, but you're like Eggos. Like it's so hard to fucking make it pancake batter and put it in a waffle iron.
Oh, I have pancake batter. It just takes too long. Yeah. And you can only make two. Who in the fuck eats two waffles? That's silly.
Normal human beings.
Oh, that's just ridiculous. Then I had to replace my giant tub of peanuts that Taco ate last week.
Oh my God.
So I did that and got some stuff, some donuts, and the good
What
stuff.
did the dog do? Did he leave baby roots all over the yard?
Yeah, pretty much. You did. Yeah. It's exact. That's a good call right there because I'm cleaning them up and I was like, it looks like a baby Ruth.
I'm so glad we went 6 minutes and 45 seconds without referencing shit or cum, which is a big step up from last week.
Right.
Christ on a crutch. Listening back to I'll get to it in a minute. I'm sorry, Craig. Go ahead.
No big deal. So, yeah. So that was it. But I was like, I've been sitting around. I mean, it definitely gets fucking like a little. It's like, what the fuck? I have this list of stuff that I want to get done. I've done none of it. Because I don't know. It's just weird.
What's
you
keeping
know?
you from doing it? Like, what are some of the things on your list?
No, like things on my list. I mean, nothing major, but like I was gonna I did clean out my office. It was fucking ridiculous. I got that all
What do you have
squared
an
away.
office for?
I have to do. I own a business, Dave. I have to do paperwork and shit.
Fran owns a business. Go on.
Yeah.
I have to do paperwork. You saw it. You've seen The Office. I showed
That
you
was
last
your
week.
office?
Yeah, it's loaded with toys and comic books.
I was gonna say also with trophies, comic books, and a cross that was older than you.
Yeah.
That looked like a memorial to you if you had died in high school and your mother never updated your room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My room was never this cool as a kid. But
Well, if you're claiming that room now, it's still not that cool.
yeah. But other than that, that was it. But no, it's funny as you're saying, like from when I was a kid, childhood thing. Rest in peace, Curly Neal, man.
Oh, the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah. And Curly was like he was one of the when they first actually started to become really mainstream, he was one of the big guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a
he was
big name
the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
In
So,
all
yeah,
channels of basketball, including competitive basketball, whatever it is they do, there was no better ball handler in the universe than Curly Neal. And all
No.
those guys played at reputable colleges. I always wondered what was it that kept them out of the NBA? Because, I mean, yeah, you take an average like a LeBron James, and he's not guarded and he's not in game situation. He can probably hit every shot he takes, or at least
True.
9
Yeah.
out of 10. These guys are unbelievable. But you watch the Globetrotters, they're trying to fulfill a show. Like they have to score a certain amount over the Washington Generals every time. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you can't beat them by 8.
Right.
While you're clowning them out, you got to beat them by 30.
Yeah.
So you got to make your shots. And Curly Neal was a hell of a 3-point shooter. And I always wonder how come these guys never even took a stab at competitive basketball.
I don't know.
Maybe they did. You never know too. Could have been things like maybe injuries that were like, you know what, I can't play at a full-on competitive, aggressive level, but I can goof around and throw fake buckets of water at people and dribble like a motherfucker and stuff it in the guy's shirt. You know what I mean? Do these trick things.
Wait. We're still talking about the
totally
Globetrotters, Craig, not your last weekend, right?
aggressive. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah,
And,
you had me at dribble.
Yeah, but not saying not that what they're doing is not good. You know what I mean? Like athletic or anything. It absolutely is. But what I'm
Right.
saying is it's not at that aggressive, hardcore competitive level where you're getting fighting for a ball under the net or something like that. So maybe it had something to do with that.
I
Yeah,
did
no-
a lot of reading on these guys over the week because, I was curious to see. I remember them for the first time on Gilligan's Island.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yep.
And what's funny is I'm pretty sure that movie where they played the robots straight up and then they realized the robots were just too well programmed. So they started doing Globetrotter shit and then they beat the robots because they confused them. Well, there was actually a game where the Washington Generals clearly were not having it and they ended up starting to play real basketball. And
Yep.
the Globetrotters were forced to play real basketball just to win the game. So the fans didn't go home unhappy. It turns out the Generals have only won 6 times in the history of that franchise.
Really?
6
But
times.
they've won.
They've won, and I'm pretty sure at least 5 of those times were designed like they were unintentional. Like
Yeah.
somebody got into a fight in the locker room and said, "Fuck it, we're taking them out tonight," and the
Yeah.
Generals just came to play.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking nuts. But imagine that. How about that? You spend your whole career like, okay, I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
You know, like this. What do you do? I lose at basketball. Like, that's your job. You know?
What do you put on your tax forms? Are you an athlete? Or are you an entertainer? What are you?
Yeah.
I
So
imagine you're an entertainer.
You're an
But
athletic entertainer.
that's good.
There
That's
you
a
go.
thing. Yeah, I'm a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
There it is. Because that's basically what it is. The difference
Yeah.
is if you fake punch somebody, they can fake sell it. But if you throw up a brick, you can't make it go in just because it's supposed to for the storyline. So the Globetrotters are amazing, man. Those guys can hit jump shots from all over the court and make them and make it look easy. And, they're doing reverse layups, and they do have to get around the generals, as crappy as they are. They're just a bunch of white guys. But they're still people.
Yeah.
But there's still people. He said.
They're a lesser
Barely.
form of basketball person. But they are people. So, yeah, R.I.P. Curly Neal. What was he, 77? Good for him.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, he was that
And,
old.
Yeah.
To
you
honor
wouldn't
him, I'm
think of
pretty
it.
sure at the eulogy, somebody's going to, drop the guy's speaking pants.
Yeah. when they go to spread his ashes, the guy just runs at the crowd and throws an empty urn at him.
All the pallbearers are spinning him around, going up
Yeah.
I was just thinking his gravesite's kind of like JFK, but instead of the eternal flame, it's just a ball that's always spinning on a little statue finger. Oh my god!
Oh shit!
That's
Church
excellent.
organ playing Sweet Georgia Brown. I love it.
Yeah.
Very slow. Doo, 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 doo.
Oh shit, Brad, how was your week?
Well, I got to hand it to. I want to throw one last shout out to Cycle. Last week was awesome.
Yeah.
Leave it to us to find a way to make the podcast sound better remotely a week after putting their song on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, I'd love to tell you that it was an accident and this and that. But truth is, we just wanted your song to sound better. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
It was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. We sacrificed.
No, honestly, listening to last week's episode annoyed me because I felt like it was a good episode. That it was the first time in ages that technology got a hold of us.
Yeah.
It's obvious that we're in a bad situation. Nobody's expecting us to get together just to make a slightly better sounding show. We're just a bunch of jackasses busting each other's balls. So
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter what we sound like. But we've gotten so used to the way this thing sounds that it was kind of hard to listen back and hear the feedback and the static and some of the bit of a delay in some moments. But all in all, I think I'm just imagining what could have been if we had done that one in person, because there was a lot of funny things in there. Dave, you came up with a great concept for the show. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I just wish I was
definitely.
around and I remember how it went. I
According
listened
to our fans, you were excellent.
Yeah, I listened back to it and I was like, wow, I don't remember any of this.
It was the fucking video looked like you had fucking cerebral palsy. Your fucking head.
What's the condition called again?
Cerebral palsy.
Yeah,
okay, you got it right back.
Yeah. But your head was bobbing around, and then you would just look up with your eyes shut, smiling like, and then your head would drop back down. It was fucking fantastic.
You look like one of those cat clocks that in the 50s they had where the eyes just went left and right.
Yeah.
I have been waiting for the Dave Drunk episode, and I'm thrilled that it finally happened.
Oh, man.
Thrilled. I've seen you cocked and loaded before. That was never an issue. Recording it and documenting it, like we can tell people now, we had to record that whole thing bit by bit, segment by segment, basically.
Yeah.
And so every time we took a break, it was about 10 minutes, and then we'd come back, and Dave would be noticeably different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like the 6 stages of whiskey drunk.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
It was like, as long as you were an object in motion, as long as you kept talking, you could maintain. But the instant we took those breaks, it was like your body warmed over with the goodness of Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah. It was so funny too, because it took a while. We started talking about the beers we were drinking, and then Dave's like, "I'm drinking whiskey," and I'm like, "Oh, makes sense."
That's starting to come together now.
Yeah.
Just
I
as you
get
came
it.
apart, it was really the timing was impeccable. We get to the third act, you doing most of the talking, and me and Craig just sat back and enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was awful.
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny that you did that to kick off this week because I'm drinking more than ever. I don't know, like Craig, I don't know what day it is. I know that I'm basing it on when the kids claim they have homeschool.
Yeah.
It hasn't stopped me from staying up till 4:00 in the morning. I found myself nearly throwing Ethan's Chromebook through an open window because his teachers don't know how to use the technology, and the kids are trying to explain to their teachers how to use this god awful technology on the Chromebook. And his teacher, I swear to God, she's like 8 minutes from death, and like 6 from retirement. So she had absolutely no business. On the 11th hour of her career, they're like, okay, now you have to learn how to do this remotely. So all she's doing is like posting worksheets and saying go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? That means I'm back in the classroom again teaching my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I spend 5 hours a
That's
day.
awful. I kind of feel bad for her.
Why?
What? I mean, that's a tough thing to do to somebody.
I think the school could have taken a second week of vacation and trained these teachers on how to do that.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I feel bad for her in general. I'm just saying, like, her personally, because, like you said, she's an older woman. She's probably close to retiring.
Death.
And never, teaching. What grade is he in? Second?
He's in
First. But yeah, so she's basically like, hands-on. That's the way you teach kids, you know what I mean? And at that age, it's more of a hands-on thing.
Oh, I hope she's not
And
hands-on.
now-
She held something up to the camera. She was doing a video for the kids, and her hand steadiness, she looked like Michael J. Fox at Six Flags. Like she was just. I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, she's like showing it to the kids on the video screen on how to read something, and I'm getting epilepsy from watching.
I was just gonna say, fucking 12 kids have seizures at once.
It was like watching Pokemon in IMAX. Just never seen just so the whole fucking time.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
like, I looked at Ethan, my 6-year-old. I'm like, hey, did you get that? And he's like, no, did you? So I wanted to download the video and play it back at like half speed. Just to make sense of this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she. I feel for her to a point, but honestly, the school district shouldn't have rushed them back. They should have said, "Kids are getting 2 weeks of vacation. We're going to train our teachers on how to actually teach from home."
Yeah.
And they're not
Didn't have any snow day. Didn't have any snow days this year.
No.
Not a one.
Not a one. So why not use those allotted snow days to bank some time to train the teachers?
Because the
like you
teachers
said?
are complaining, and the union is complaining that when they do go back to school, and the plan right now for our district is to be back by tax day, April 15th.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
No.
But they're planning on being
No, it's
back.
not
But
happening.
they still want the flexibility to take vacation days. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not going to happen. And guess what? They're not going to get snow days anymore once this remote learning comes through.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
This is
Snow days are done.
well, I'm good. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm good with that because as a work from home guy, I got nothing done on those days. I'm getting nothing done searching for a job right now. I'm trying my best to start a career, and I've been interviewing heavily. That's been good, but every 10 minutes, Ethan's like, "I'm done. I need help, and I got to go back up." I spent 5 hours a day with him, just teaching him this week, and it got to be a little much after a while. I don't start my day until 2 p.m. And it gets a little crazy after. But enough of that.
What scares me is I realized that at one point you were a teacher.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was getting paid to do it.
Yeah,
It was a
and I know
career move.
your patience and ability to like let things slide is just I couldn't see it. It's just
Yeah,
funny.
but
I was excellent in the classroom. When I had to turn it on, I turned it on.
Yeah.
And I
The
did a
difference
good
is-
job. I taught special ed for God's sake.
Yeah. The difference now
Well,
is
you weren't
when-
going to teach smart kids.
Oh.
Am I taking intelligent shit from you? Nobody at home is convinced that you just burned me on something, That was horrible.
I
Anyway,
liked it.
you were saying?
Oh shit.
That was the Jay and Silent Bob reboot of jokes.
Wow.
All right.
Because I watched that piece of horseshit as soon as I was done doing volunteer teaching this week. I decided the best use of my available hours was to watch the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And I tell you, I would have rather been teaching his entire class for free than to watch this god-awful abortion of a movie again. It's an unflushable turd of a movie. Kevin Smith should be ashamed of himself, and I think deep down he really is. I think he's still beating himself up for being a fat fuck a few years ago.
Nah, I think I liked it. I enjoyed it, man.
Which is all you're just making Brad's case.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
You
I
thought that
agree,
joke
but that's
landed.
why. Yeah, I did. Nah, I like the. I just liked it because I expect it to be silly and ridiculous. You know what I mean? That's what I
Silly's
exactly
one
what I
thing.
went in.
I wasn't
expecting.
looking for Shakespeare. I was looking for like a modern day extension of what that universe was. And yes, I called it a universe just to appease you. But I mean, Clerks was whip smart.
Yes.
Chasing
Yep.
Amy was whip smart. Dogma was fantastic. All of
Yes.
those movies were also reflective of the years they were made. This
True.
was just literally a nudge and a wink to the audience.
Yeah,
And that's
what
all
it was
with
supposed to be.
callbacks and cameos. But at no point did they ever make me believe that, well, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but the whole central plot point was stupid. Kevin Smith stunt casting his daughter, who's a hideous hag, if there ever was one. She's got a voice twice as deep as Kevin Smith's.
No. Is it? Does she have a
I
deep
know.
voice?
Oh, she's got that weird, like, she sounds like she's got a cold, but it never gets over it. It's
Oh,
just,
I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's like, she's trying to sound smoky and sultry, and she's just awful. She's like 21, and she's already in all of his movies, and he should be ashamed of himself for that. Keep her behind the camera or locked in a broom closet, wherever it is. People
Right,
like
she landed that role for the Quentin Tarantino movie on her own. He even wrote the part in the movie for her because he liked her monologue.
Well,
Which
I think
movie?
The what's that Hollywood movie? The last one he just did.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And what he did was when he was casting for the parts of the Manson family girls.
Yep.
And he didn't want them to read the script. He told all the people going in for the part to write a monologue, and do it. So they all came in, they did their monologues, and she did hers, and she didn't get the part, but he ended up writing in a part for her because he liked her monologue so much. And Kevin Smith never called him. He doesn't. I mean, he knows him, but he doesn't really know him. But he never called him. He never did anything. She went in there and did it on her own. And apparently she did fantastic in the movie. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently she did a great job.
I'll check it out. I'm not a huge Tarantino fan, but I heard this one's the exception, not the rule, so I will check that out for sure.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have no doubt she's got talent, but she reminds me of like the theater girl in high school that spent half of the day out in the courtyard smoking cigarettes, and the other half like painting her walls black and talking about pain. She's one of
a
them.
teenager.
No. They're cliques. She was
No, I know what you're saying.
on the tail end. She dated one of the auto shop guys, but deep down, it's like she was a chrysalis and there was a butterfly just waiting to emerge. Didn't happen in this fucking turd of a movie.
Just another caterpillar that climbed out.
Yeah.
Jesus
With a
Christ.
weird mole on her face.
Oh,
Like if you're Cindy Crawford, you can get away with having one of the Lee press-on moles, but you can't do it when you're fucking ugly already. So anyhow, that was my week. Happy opening day.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Enough of this. Dave, how was your week?
My week started off a little rough. Monday morning, my wife is heading.
I'll say.
What?
No, I know about your week.
Oh, it's
I just threw it in. I'll say.
Yeah, so she heads downstairs Monday morning, or starts to do some laundry, and she's like, did we get an oil delivery? And I was like, yeah, why? She goes, it smells like oil in the basement. I was like, oh fuck. So I go down there, and sure enough, there's a leak in the oil tank. So I've got this big
That
puddle
sucks.
of home heating oil on my basement floor in front of the washer and dryer. which is fucking super. So I've got to fucking haul all this shit out of the basement, 8 o'clock in the morning. Haul all this shit out. I'm trying to soak it up, so I spent half the morning trying to clean up that mess. I ended up with the heating oil company coming out luckily they could patch it and fix it for the time being.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm gonna need a new tank, but I don't need it right this minute.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, how long did they give that patch? I rode a tire that popped once, and I plugged it, and the thing lasted me 5 years.
Yeah. It's a magnetic patch. So they put
really?
they put a sealer on it, and the magnet sticks to the steel tank. So it was like the leak was like the drip from an IV. It wasn't a lot. Or Craig trying to piss on a Sunday morning. It was a really slow.
Craig, right after a moment of ecstasy.
That's right. But it was enough. Like it soaked. It's the mat that I had in the basement in front of the washer and dryer was just soaked in heating oil, and I've got to figure out a way to get this out of the house without making more of a mess. So I threw away more clothes and shit that was in the basement just because it touched the oil, and then this oil's just leaking into my driveway because I bagged it into like 7 or 8 different garbage bags.
Yeah.
And it finds its way out. So here I am washing my driveway like an 80-year-old Portuguese woman.
It smells like piss and diesel.
Right? And it looks like it, it was like the river of toxic regret flowing down my street.
I feel bad for anybody just smoking a butt, walking by and tossing that thing.
Yeah. like it was so bad. Like Cousin Eddie would have been like, "That's not right."
Yeah.
That right there is dangerous. But since Monday, I've been dealing with that lingering odor of home heating oil in the house.
Yep.
And today at lunch, I just said, "Fuck it." I went downstairs and I took bleach and hot water, and I on my hands and knees fucking scrubbed the concrete floor
and made a bomb.
Yes,
because isn't that like bleach diesel? Like if you had fertilizer in your garage, you'd have blew your neighborhood up. I hope you Googled how to clean that.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
No, I soaked up, like I threw down sawdust all over the floor and soaked up all the oil and everything, and I let the sawdust sit for 3 or 4 days. But then I just needed to get the smell out, so I needed something more to cut it. So that's what I've been dealing with that all week. And then to kind of put the cherry on top of my week, yesterday in the middle of the afternoon, I go upstairs. It's time for my post coffee pre-lunch dump. I gotta make room for food, right? So I go upstairs and I'm in the process of sitting on my toilet, and I fucking headbutt the handle on my shower in front of me. We have a stand-up shower in that bathroom, and the handle's got sharp corners. I put a fucking dent and gouge right on the tip of my hairline on my forehead as I was sitting down to take a dump. So now I'm sitting on the toilet trying to push, but not push too hard because I don't want to pass out because I'm losing blood from my forehead. But I've got this Pop-Tart coffee turd pushing its way out at the same time. And I'm trying to find the balance between enough lower pressure but keeping pressure up top equal. It was awful.
You got to keep it balanced. Yeah.
All I need is my wife,
like a scuba diver.
Yeah. All I need is to pass out like mid turd. My wife find me bleeding from the head with the shit hanging out of my ass, lying on the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
It'd
like
be great,
Elvis,
though.
just not
Your eulogy. Oh, he went peacefully. He went as we expected.
That's right.
At least he died doing what he loved.
Yeah, the only thing that would have made it worse if I was mid-stroke when all this happened.
Yeah.
God.
Oh my God.
So
Is that the real reason you shaved? Because you had Pop-Tarts and heating oil in your beard?
It was strawberry frosted dingleberries.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my week, so I've it's been a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, how could we not when I look at the
No.
outline? I said, hurt my head taking a shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
A good friend would have asked you to elaborate that and maybe ask if you were okay. I'm not a good friend. And so I was looking forward this week to.
No, I immediately was like, I wish I was there.
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I wish I could have seen that without actually seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. like with those bars, from those censored bars.
If life had a real filter where you could blur out the whole background but just focus on one thing, yeah.
Yeah. Your sad face. Yeah. Yeah.
You kidding me? As soon as he mopped up the blood, he was writing notes down. I can't wait to tell everybody about this on the show.
Yeah.
That's
Get my phone.
The worst part was, I've got to come downstairs now to my wife, who's working pretty much at the bottom of the stairs, holding a tissue to my forehead after I just went upstairs to grow a tail. And she's like, what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah. Oh God. Oh my God.
Could you imagine Dave never shared these stories, like shit stories? It'd be a 2-man show.
Right?
Glad
You
I
know what's
could help
crazy
out.
though, Dave? I mean, honestly, with a big scar on your forehead and Pop-Tarts on what's left of your beard and a turd hanging out of your ass, you're still more fuckable than Kevin Smith's daughter.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
Yes, we're not going to be getting that Tell Him Steve Dave money anytime soon, I can tell you that. Anywho, what do you say? Should we do an episode?
We can certainly try.
All right. Before we even get into it, though, let's try to do an episode. But I know we don't want to talk about coronavirus anymore. It's taking up too much of the show.
No, we just leave it alone.
But
are there any and nobody is coming to us for news or breaking ideas or anything. So let's just
what?
No.
Let's move on to. Yeah, exactly. Well, what's the latest in shit, Dave?
Yeah.
I think I just covered that, right?
Yeah, well, you covered a lot more than that. But, are there any non-coronavirus headlines worth mentioning? Is there anything going on in the world that maybe wouldn't have made a normal show, but might help us forget about coronavirus for a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh man, I think Dave had one.
I didn't have anything, man. I didn't have any headlines, but I've had this this thought. Was it 2 weeks ago we talked about Corey Feldman and his stupid documentary, and I just keep laughing because this whole week I've been thinking, how pissed is this guy that he finally, after 2 decades of trying and threats from the Wolfpack, he finally get out his documentary, and then coronavirus happens and everyone forgets about him again.
Fucking Mother Nature basically told him to shut the fuck up.
This is nature's Crisco.
Yeah, Earth was like, shut up.
Yeah.
Mother Nature just came and hamed all over this.
Yeah.
But it's just been making me laugh all week. I could just picture him with his stupid makeup face sitting at home on his couch God damn it. Now what?
Wearing his frilly French Renaissance clothes.
Yeah.
Fucking just sitting there.
I hope Corey Feldman's sitting in a room with 2 razor blades and somebody's just singing, "Go for it." Go for it. Enough with him.
Oh my God, that fucking guy.
That was it. That just
the Earth was like, all right, that's it. This guy again. Fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm taking these fuckers out. I can't handle it anymore.
If I have to kill 1 million people to make people forget about him, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Really
It's
hope
all
Rob Logan
fucking. It's all his fault.
Ugh. But anyway, I got to tell you, the one headline that really jumped at me this week is Britney Spears claims to run a 100-meter dash faster than Usain Bolt. And in a related story, all the domestic violence charges against Kevin Federline have been dropped because those black eyes came from her tits.
Yeah. She really said that.
Yes, she did. She did. And I don't know if she's trying to be funny, ironic, or try to carve out a new personality for herself as she approaches middle age as a fading pop diva. But I actually think that Britney Spears, in her own little corner of the universe, believes that she's faster than the fastest man on earth.
Does she have anything to support this claim?
She can't even support those tits.
She went to start running, blacked out, and then was at the finish line and thought, "Wow, I got here in a fucking half a second. I'm incredible." That's what happened.
The sun's moved 2/3 of the way across the sky.
Yeah. Meth will do that.
Well, yeah, meth is crazy. Pretty sure she wrote a song called Crazy, too. Childhood was wonderful. The other headline that jumped at me, I thought you guys would have liked this one. Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos might actually be restoring I didn't read the article, but it's nice to know that in the wake of all this tragedy across the world from Mother Nature, it's healing itself. The pollution is clearing above China. Waterways are clearing in Venice. Cocaine hippos are restoring Colombia's ecosystem. Life finds a way.
Cocaine hippos. That's like my favorite fucking word ever made. His cocaine hippos.
Are we talking?
Fat.
That's what I was saying. Are we talking about animals here or all his side chicks?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I bet you he's dating some girls that are so fucking ugly, but they're willing to do anything for him that they don't even stop him at the border now. They just let these hags walk their way through with just pounds of cocaine, under the third and fourth flaps of each gut.
That would have been great is when they were digging in his grave if they found like a drum full of his money. That motherfucker's buried. They said there's got to be fucking hundreds of millions of dollars buried all over fucking Colombia. They have no idea where it is because some farmer did find a bunch of it.
Really?
Yeah, not too long ago, dug up something. It was like 40 million.
No
Yeah,
shit.
what was his name before he got murdered?
Yeah. Oh no, he turned it right over as soon as he found it.
Out of pure fear.
Yeah, exactly. Out of pure fear, exactly. But and they say that he's got to have close to $1 billion buried around all around Colombia.
Let me ask you a question. What's the point of having all the money if you can never use it or let anybody know you have it?
Yeah, that's what I always thought too. It was like it wasn't. I think at that point, it is no longer about money. It's not. It's more about power and being able to make people do things and being in charge more than the money. Because at what point when he first went to prison and got out, he could have just said, "Okay, I'm legitimately out. I'm done." And he had hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And he could have just
I mean,
yeah, he could have just tapped out and said, "I'm going to live here with my wife and kids, and that's it. I'm done."
I'm afraid to jump a red light, so I'm maybe not the guy who should be speaking to this. But at the same time, I find it crazy, that especially from a guy who did get caught once and did time for it in a Colombian prison. I don't care if it's one of those club feds down there. It's probably still pretty nasty.
Then he built his own prison. He did. That's how influential. He ran for president while being a known fucking cartel leader and almost won. And then he built, when they arrested him the second time, he built his own prison. That was the only way he would turn himself over.
No
and he
shit.
built his own prison and hired his own guards, and they allowed it. And this motherfucker stayed in a fucking basically a fucking resort. And they were shipping in fucking. They had guards at the gates. They were shipping in every Friday night hookers, all kinds of shit coming in on trucks, like and
Jeez.
dropping them off. And
But wait,
it was him and
how did they get the cocaine hippos in?
right, exactly. So yeah, the cocaine hippos. This guy owned hippos.
He, he didn't just go to El Pet store down the street either.
No, this motherfucker he built a zoo. He had peacocks, fucking flamingos, fucking hippos, tigers.
On his property, right? He didn't just like build it somewhere
Yeah.
else. This was his
No.
his house.
It was his house. Yeah, his house was like fucking Six Flags.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably owns all the other major exports. Like, figure Colombia's #1 export's coffee. #2 is sugarcane. #3 is cocaine. And number
Yep.
4 is jungle creatures, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Racist.
He was a fucked up dude.
And
He had cocaine hippos.
He had cocaine hippos. I wish him the best.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. Well, that was it for headlines. That
I
explains
wish him
why-
the best. What? Less worms digging through his eyeballs.
No, because even he bought himself a better afterlife.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
He's in like heaven plus, like how we upgraded the software.
Yeah.
He's in like business class heaven.
Yeah. Business class heaven.
He's like in the quiet car on the Amtrak, He's doing
Yep.
pretty well for himself. But anyway, what do you say? Let's get away from that. Dave, you
Yep.
had some pretty good ideas this week, so let's kind of get into what the theme of the show is.
Well, it almost stemmed from the overwhelming amount of news about the one big story there is right now, and we didn't want to let that kind of drive everything we're doing and dictate it. But there are some interesting, I don't say side effects, but repercussions that we're all dealing with about having cabin fever. I guess is kind of where it came from, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we kind of went down that road of we need to be done and get away from this endless barrage of news stories. So Brad, you did a good job of kind of laying out some ideas of where we can go with that. So I guess the first big thing is if anytime you turn on the news, open up an internet browser, anything, you're seeing the same types of stories.
Yeah.
And you need to check out of it for a while. So we wanted to kind of ask the question, is getting away from reality a good thing or a bad thing? I think now's it's a good time to talk about it.
I think I would say absolutely, for one thing. To an extent. I mean, depends how you go about it. You know what I mean? But
Well, what do you mean? Well,
I mean,
go ahead.
well, I'm saying to breaking away from reality. Are you doing it in a sense of ignoring what's going on in the world and maybe reading a book or watching movies or doing something like that, or are you fucking blasting fat lines and doing mushrooms and running in the woods? That's
There's
not
never
good.
a gray area with you.
Yeah.
There's never some kind of weird middle ground that normal people would live in.
Yeah.
You just automatically, it's mushrooms and the woods.
Yeah,
It's
why-
always
Yeah.
in the woods with you.
Why can't I just have a drink or smoke a joint on my patio?
Exactly.
Oh, there's
Why does it
that.
gotta get
That's-
raped?
Well, no. Well, that's my thing. Is that I don't classify that as being insane. You know what I mean? That to me is watching a movie or reading a book. You know?
In a weird way, that makes sense.
No, but that's what I mean. You're relaxing. Whether you're having a beer and watching a movie, or smoking a joint and watching a movie, or reading a book, or whatever. You know what I mean? But it depends. But it's absolutely a great thing. Even not in times like this, you need that break. That's one of the things I did a lot, because my mind is always going 100 miles an hour. I have like that overactive mind. You know what I mean? I can't concentrate on shit for too long without three other things going on at the same time in the back of my head. You know what I mean? So one of the things that used to work for me was when I I've talked about it before, painting miniatures. Because when I used to do
Is that what
that,
you
that was
call
the only
whacking off?
yeah,
Painting the miniature?
Yeah. Put a little smiley face on the tip and talking to it.
I'm back.
What you doing, Fonzie? No, but
Just grit your teeth and knuckle under. It'll be over soon.
yeah, yeah.
Did you make it realistic and spell Fonzie backwards?
Yeah. No, but that was one of the things that, and what I used to do is I would sit down and I'd put that, and I used to put audiobooks on, right? So I have an audiobook playing and I'd be painting, and that would be for the first time, like all day and night. That would be the only thing I was thinking about at that point. And it was it was the best thing in the fucking world to me. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden when I was done, I was relaxed. I wasn't fucking tense. My teeth weren't clenched. I spent most of my days walking around with my teeth clenched. You know what I mean? Because it was just stressful. So I think now is even more of a time to find something to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to binge watch this show on Netflix. Is it productive? No. But is it keeping me fucking sane because everything I look at isn't fucking COVID-19? Fuck yeah. Because I had to tell my wife, like, you need to fucking put your phone down for a minute and stop looking at the news stories because it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's too much.
I'm the worst with that. I timed myself once with a stopwatch, and I instinctively I'll put the phone to the next to me so it's not even in my peripheral vision, and I'll still find myself looking back at it just in case that ever important email from fucking whatever company comes through.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it becomes obsessive after a while, and the fact that it's so knee jerk is scary. So I get it.
No,
You're
and
absolutely right there.
No, and I do, and I've done it. I was doing it too. I saw you get sucked. I get sucked into my phone. And I'm like, what? I'm reading the same fucking story. I know it's bad. I know what I need to do. Enough. Tell me when it's done. You know what I mean? Until then, I'm gonna fucking listen to Stephen King talk about a virus that killed everybody in the world.
I need somebody to relax.
Yeah. I'm gonna listen to The Stand. While I'm painting it.
That
No,
book
but you
probably
need
lasted
to.
longer than the virus.
Yeah, right. But it's just it is. So to me, I think you need it whether it's in a time like this or just your regular week, just to get out of your own head for a little bit and not deal with things. That's the thing, is
I
not
gotta
dealing with
counter
it.
you though. You know I would. I
Oh, of course.
actually,
Yep.
the one thing I gotta say about this one is, and we were as much a part of this as anybody, we didn't take it too seriously. We assumed, and rightfully so, because so many of these things are broken out in China and other countries where maybe their sanitation standards aren't up to snuff, or maybe their food preparation isn't quite what we're used to over here. But we always
Yeah.
just assume it's going to stay, quote unquote, over there.
Over there. Yeah.
This one, as soon as it hit Europe, all of a sudden everybody's like, wait a minute.
Wait, that's not supposed to happen?
Yeah. And then, well, maybe there was a lot of tourism. And there was, only Russia has like almost no cases. And do you know why? Because
They've had 1,000.
over the course of Russia, I can take that.
That's
Okay?
a fucking gigantic country.
Yeah. That's just it. I mean, Rhode Island, we are the exception in the United States. We've got 160 some odd cases, none of them fatal, and very few of them actually ICU.
Yeah.
No one's intubated. I mean, and I'm knocking on wood right now because I really hope that what we did is the right thing. But look at what's happening in New York.
Yeah.
They're telling everybody down there, just assume you have it and stay the fuck inside. And I already know 2 people with it now.
Really?
Yep.
Former coworkers, yeah, and they're feeling fine. They're not showing too many of the symptoms. Well, one of my buddy's girlfriend, she has the loss of taste and the loss of smell,
That's
and
weird.
no other symptoms. It's weird, but that's just it. It's hitting everybody in different ways. This thing mutates, and what I'm saying to get back to the point is, I think in this case, people do need to act a little more informed. It was a week ago. People were still on the beaches in Clearwater, Florida, partying it up.
Yeah.
And it's because nobody took it seriously. Maybe if people paid attention to the numbers, because if you look at Florida now, half of those kids are infected.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
no, I guess so. No, that I'll agree with that on that with the counter, because I'm looking at it as if I'm paying attention to it, but then I started paying too much attention
Yeah, there's
to
a
it.
difference between
I
paying attention, staying informed.
and blatantly ignoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I'll
Yeah.
agree with 100%. Don't obsess
Yeah.
over it. It does no good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
But I just
Exactly.
think when you're inundated with something, you can't ignore what's stabbing you. And I think in this case, turning off and tuning out isn't the answer.
no,
And that's
it's not the answer, but I think it,
For a little bit I mean,
I think
to
you
say,
need
hey, I'm going to shut everything off. Yeah. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
you
I'm
need
sorry.
I think everybody needs that little mental break
For
to
a
just
little
kind of
while.
check
Yeah.
out. A little while could be an hour. You know what I mean? To just do nothing else. Like I'll do that when I'm at work. Like I'll put some music on and just focus on what I'm doing and listen to the music. And
From 8 to 5.
no, I wish I could argue, but there have been days I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still need to check in with what's happening out in the world. I'll do that a couple times a day. With something like
Yeah.
this, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and obsessed, and it becomes the stress point increases 100-fold if you get hyper focused on it. So I think taking a break from things but being responsibly informed makes sense. Now, that's different than what we were talking about, which is getting away from reality for a while. So getting away from reality is, I think, kind of where Brad was going, where you can't just pretend that this stuff isn't happening.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's a difference there between kind of climbing into your own head for a little while to kind of reset, and versus completely disregarding what's happening in the world, just pretending like everything is fine. That's not okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And just like I said about Craig, finding that balance. And so that's exactly what you said too,
Yeah.
finding the balance. I think when it comes to this though, I think maybe a little more leaning towards the caution side.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, we haven't left this fucking house. My wife's been going into work, but you got to watch her. She carries those dog shit bags with her now. Anytime she's anywhere, she's not
I
even
can
touching.
relate.
She's
Yeah. No, that's smart.
You bring them to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's a smart thing to do, man.
No, I need them on the way to the bathroom just in case.
No, it's a smart thing to do. Like today, I even went and how about this? I was glad I thought about this when I walked in. When I went to BJ's today, and they have disinfectant bottle and paper towels for you to spray the handles of the carts. Right?
Yeah.
So I grabbed the disinfectant. I go to grab the disinfectant bottle and I stop. And I grabbed the paper towel.
And then grab the bottle.
Used it to pick up the fucking
Yep.
You know, because I'm like, this bottle, everybody's grabbing this thing and squeezing it and disinfecting the handles and then putting it down and fucking rubbing their eyes. You know,
this bottle of Lysol has Ebola.
Yeah. So I was like, so I picked it up, I sprayed everything, and then even that, like, took it and I wiped my hands. Then the woman even asked me, "Do you want gloves?" I was like, "Yeah." Why? I mean, I don't give a fuck if I look like I'm like some sort of pussy. You offer him to me for free, I'm gonna fucking take him.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put him on, and I'm gonna go grocery shopping with him on. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but she opened the box of gloves.
Yeah, she was wearing gloves.
Yeah, but she's probably touched other boxes of gloves. You're infected.
No, it's well, it was funny. I said this to Snoop Dogg today. This is the kid that works the counter at Stop and Shop because he looks exactly like him, right? I mean, when I say fucking exactly, if you saw him, you'd ask him for his fucking autograph, right? But he's working at the cash register, so you know it's not him.
It might be him.
But it's fucking incredible. It's uncanny. It's a doppelganger. It's ridiculous. But so I said it to him today. I said, you know, we're checking out, and literally they have things. They put these big cough shields, these big pieces of plexiglass in front of the fucking registers, which should stay there.
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah.
And I'm like, why wouldn't you keep that there? Just for the protection of both the customer and the employee. You know what I mean? But anyway, so he starts. I said, don't worry about it. I'll bag because he goes to help me bag the stuff. I said, I've already touched it. I'll grab it. I'll do it. You know. So he's like, no. He's like, I'll help you. He's like, I got hand sanitizer right here. He starts putting it in. So I'm like, it's amazing how much shit you touch in one day, isn't it? He goes, I can't believe it. Right away, he's like, it's incredible. He goes, now that you're thinking about it, the amount of stuff that you every time you touch something, you're like, oh no, I gotta sanitize. Like it's crazy.
It's going to be
It's
years
crazy.
before we recover from this and start acting normal again.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to go into business meetings with a round of handshakes anymore. I don't think you're going to see as many people like hunkering up to a bar together.
No.
I want to see finger guns. I want finger guns. Me and Fran have been doing it. We started doing it. We were like, fuck it, finger guns.
Oh my God. How happy is Fran? She finally has an excuse not to touch you.
Not to touch me. Yeah, it's great.
She's got a wedding photo. That's plenty of an excuse right there.
No, she started. It started in the beginning of the week as a joke because we went to because me and Fran, every time one of us says something stupid, like funny, we'll high five each other, right? It's just something we've always done.
So you haven't gotten a high five in weeks, have you?
No. So we went to do it the other day, and it was funny because both of us at the same time went, no, we like stopped. Like, oh, we can't do that, So she's like, no, you got to do this. And she put her elbow out, like to bump elbows. And then that was it. And we're like, no. We're like, nope, finger guns. That's it. Every time we do something, we're doing finger guns to each other.
My wife's out right now having a social distancing beer with the neighbors. They're standing 10 feet apart in the middle of the street drinking beers.
That's cool. That's cool.
I'm thinking all our parties should be like this.
Yeah. Right?
Not cram on the Mike's deck anymore. Let's have 2 people on Mike's deck and then 2 in the other corner of the yard. We'll call that a party.
Right? I like that.
I'm good with that. And only one person can be in his living room when he's cranking music, and that's him.
Yeah. So how about the pool guy showed up at my house on Tuesday? All of a sudden my dog's barking like a motherfucker. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So look, there's the pool guy. He's in my yard spray painting the grass.
Wait, is this the guy, the original guy that you had last year, or the new guy?
No. This is the new guy, Joe.
Okay.
Joe's on it. Joe is awesome.
Well, that's what I just want to make sure like the other guy didn't just show up and be like, hey, like everything was okay.
No, Joe's on it. But so I look out the window. Joe's 72 years old. Right? He's been running this company for 53 years.
Wow.
Right? I mean, no, I'm sorry. 43 years. He's been running this company. And so he's out in the yard. I look out the window. He's wearing a surgical mask in my yard, spray painting the ground. And I look, and he's got his grandson with him, So I open the door. I walk outside. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna stay over here. We'll talk. He's like, no, this is perfect. He's like, this is great. He's like, I didn't know you were home. I'm like, yeah, I was. He's like, I'm just marking shit out. But it was just so funny to see.
Which means he thinks your yard is contagious.
Yes.
Based solely on meeting you, he thinks even your yard is gross.
Did anybody
be wrong?
It might have been just to avoid the paint fumes.
No, not at all. This guy is. If you're a stonemason, and you do all this shit, and you're installing pools, and you fucking put a mask on to spray fucking 3 marks in the grass, you're gonna get laughed out of the business.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in trouble. What are some of the stupidest things we've ever done when we're bored?
Started a podcast.
So
Funny thing is, I immediately thought was talking to Brad in the bar.
Yep.
And Fran's at home listening, talking to Craig ever.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
The first time I talked to Craig, I thought he was hitting on me.
I was.
Yeah.
But you just.
I made a comment to the bartender about Comic-Con or something, and then he moved a seat over immediately, like he sidled.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
right
I
up
did.
next to me. Yeah, it was, and he had Manny with him, which was weirder because Manny looked like his bouncer, and he was the pimp.
Yeah.
And Craig was trying to sell himself for money.
I was actually trying to fucking get Manny to fuck you. I was gonna. I just wanted to watch. It was a freak show. No.
Isn't that how the California brush fires started?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, so what do you say? Weirdest things when you're bored?
No, the dumbest things. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I
Oh,
remember one day, this was when I was young. I was still, I was in elementary school, maybe junior high school, and I was home after school, and I didn't have anything to do. I made myself a peanut butter and chocolate chip sandwich.
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see
Okay.
anything wrong with that. It's
Yeah,
gross.
yeah.
It's
I'm
not
kind of
weird.
on. I'm kind of on board with that and intrigued.
All right. So bad
Yeah,
example for you, you idiot.
yeah.
I
I
I
just love
did.
when he calls you a dummy. I really do.
Yeah.
There was another time I was in my room as a kid, and I had a lot of GI Joes, and they used to have like missiles and torpedoes you could fire and stuff. And for some
Yep.
reason, I was sitting in my room and I had one of those little missile torpedo things, and I was just holding it, and I dug a hole
And
in
his
my wall.
asshole was wrecked
No.
for 2 weeks.
We never did find Destro, did
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go on.
Destro was a drag queen. Let's be honest.
Right? Yeah.
we? But he was nice and shiny, so he slid right up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Destro was just a fucking big anal toy.
You're the dude who identified as the bumper of a Volkswagen.
Yeah. He went with Destro because the nickname Butt Plug was taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
You kidding me? My favorite G.I. Joe was Snow Job. Can you imagine once you realized what that was a play on?
Yeah, right.
Never felt
Right.
good about that dude with skis again.
Were his cheeks all puffed out?
No, he was in an all white outfit on skis, and he looked like he was on holiday with his closeted boyfriend.
Chris, scratch and sniff. When you took him out of the package, he smelled like bleach. Yeah.
I'm just amazed we got through this many jokes and Craig hasn't said pink eye yet.
Yeah. Oh no, it's coming. Hold on.
Jesus.
So Dave, as you were,
I got nothing now. It doesn't matter.
No.
what'd you do with your GI
No.
Joes, Dave?
What did you do?
I dug a hole in the wall. I just sat in my room and I slowly ground a hole into the drywall in my bedroom for no reason.
With fucking
Oh,
GI Joe
just-
toys?
Yeah, you know how
Just-
long that took with a plastic toy?
I was gonna say they don't make trailers like they used to.
No.
But I see what you're saying. Like you started, like you poked a little, like you started to, and you're like, oh, it's doing something,
Yeah,
and then you're like, oh, and then it just kept going, and the next thing you know, there's a giant hole there. Yeah, I get you.
yeah. You know, and after that, I didn't think about what my father would do, and then how he would create a larger hole with my face after seeing that small hole I made with a toy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I did shit like that. I took my mother's vacuum apart completely, and it all started. It all started because you know where you wrap the handle, wrap the cord around the handle.
Yeah.
It was all loose, so I was like, well, I'm gonna fix it. But the screw was popped out enough that it was like stripped, so you couldn't get it back in. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take that piece off and put it back on. But then when I took it off, I'm like, well, I'll take this piece off and put something behind it so it goes in. And then next thing you know, I took the whole fucking vacuum apart because I just wanted to see what was going on inside of it. And yeah, it was fucking, my mother flipped the fuck out.
Did she find
And
you
I put-
right away?
Oh, well, yeah, I was in like parts all over the
Well,
place.
no. What I
Like,
mean is,
she-
I didn't know if you did it while she was like at work or something.
Oh
and
no,
came
she
home
was
later.
she was at work totally, and I was like, I can have this back together
Mm.
before she gets back. Not even close. And yeah, and I did other stuff like that. I took other stuff apart. I usually like taking things apart just to see how they work, or you know what I mean. If things broke, I'd take it apart first before I threw it out. 'Cause
Yeah.
I wanted to see. I'm like, oh, I could probably fix it, you know. But so I did that, and that was brutal. But I mean, I also did things. I used to freeze my GI Joes in paper cups.
What?
Nice.
Like fill it with water and dump the GI Joe in it.
Yeah, dump the GI Joes in them and freeze them in there.
Dude, I stuck my I stuck my Optimus Prime in the microwave once and put it on for a minute
But
and just watched it spark and like blue lightning fly off him. I thought it was the coolest thing. I ruined the microwave.
Oh yeah.
But he transformed.
Oh,
And that's what was important.
he transformed into a piece of trash.
I
I didn't do
go ahead.
anything with my G.I. Joes, but my Star Wars figures, the ones that all be worth millions right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Tonka dump truck that had a hole that like was a lock for the dump truck portion. And so I used to behead all of my Star Wars figures. The locking hole was a perfect size. So I put the normal headed people, like Chewbacca did not apply here.
Yeah.
C-3PO and Luke and everybody, you put that head right down and you slam the thing, and their heads would come rolling out of the bottom. It was a ritual, and yet my mother even then said, you might want those when you're older. These were original edition, like cloth that the no vinyl shit. This was like the real deal.
Oh yeah.
It was bad. I could have paid for college with some of these.
Yep.
And I didn't do it. So, but hey, watching a beheading, it satisfied an itch. I had an itch and I played it.
I remember standing. What was Zartan, and what was the Indian's name?
Oh my!
The G.I. Joe Indian.
It was probably something very racist.
It was.
He was what do you call it? How the fuck are you?
Yeah. No,
He
but
was
the Indian one. But I remember bending the Indian over in the road and having Zartan stand behind him like he was butt fucking him in the Spirit. Yes. In the street.
God, that's the name of a horse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Spirit.
Listen, I bent them over like Zartan was butt fucking him in the middle of the road and sat there for at least 45 minutes before a car hit him. Like that was I was just like, a car's gonna run them over. I used to do that all the time. Throw something out there and wait for a car to run it over. That was like my big thing. And this was a road
thing.
It was. It was. I used to do it all the time. I'd lay something out in the street and wait for a car to run it over. And it was like, yeah.
Can I ask why he had to be butt fucking him to do it? Like, what part of that got you off? The fact that he was fucking a horse, or the fact
I was like 12.
a car hit them while it was happening?
No, I was like 12. I'm like, let me make them do weird shit. And yeah, he's butt fucking him. Yeah. And that's it. Bottom line. I don't need to explain myself, damn it.
I once tried to build a bomb with an erector set because I thought that like the 2 volts of power in that battery was going to be enough if I just put the little clamp on something that I was going to energize it, it was going to come to life. I had seen just enough bad movies to think that as long as I put something metal on something else metal, it would activate an engine that didn't exist. And so I tried to build bombs with that. I used to build booby traps in my yard too. This made my dad very happy. Yeah, it wasn't even like Home Alone wasn't even a thing yet, but I built like traps in my yard to try to catch people, like burglars. Because when we were kids, burglars were going to be a big problem. Yeah. So I dug about 2-foot holes in my yard, and then I covered them up with grass clippings and branches. And my dad finally was mowing the lawn one day and just went down.
You got him! You got him!
Yeah, I'm like, I got him. And then he got me. And that was it.
That's fantastic.
It turns out you only need one good foot to beat the shit out of somebody with a belt. Lesson learned.
Right?
Oh, God.
And then more recently, I explored the dark web once.
No, you didn't.
The dark web. Really?
Well, yeah, I tried. They have that Tor browser. You can go on anonymously and check it out. And within seconds of your arrival, you get the Tor browser. It's basically... it reroutes your IP address across thousands across the web, so you'll never be tracked. And you can go, it's very slow, but you can get down there, and right away, they give you this obligatory warning on the Tor browser homepage. Whatever you do here, we're not responsible.
Yeah.
And the idea, you can use it to surf the web, it's fine. But when they immediately give you a directory. And
it's like, if you want to buy a human hand, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
But here's a link to do it.
But here's a link to do it, yeah.
I'm not even exaggerating. Within 4 minutes, I was probably already on sites where I could buy guns and children. And it was mind-blowing. because
No
all their
shit.
addresses are nothing but mile-long series of numbers.
Yeah.
There's no any .com here. It's just
Yeah.
all basically number addresses, and you go there. And I clicked around, and I could have bought myself an AK, with no serial numbers, and I could have bought myself a child to shoot as target practice in minutes of my arrival, and it's all done through Bitcoin, so it wasn't trackable.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Why everybody was all Bitcoin became a big thing, and the price shot up so high because it was unregulated. It has to be regulated because it's just used for fucking crime.
That's insane.
I mean, the things I saw down there. One of the things I loved about the dark web is that's how journalists today are getting their sources. Nothing is being done over standard media. There are no emails giving away sources. If you need an anonymous tip, it's all done on the dark web. And there are plenty of forums and things down there where people are exchanging ideas. Yes, I murdered 6 people. Here's why. And they're doing it relatively anonymously. The journalists are then going into the dark web and finding these people and creating what they're calling breaking stories.
Yeah.
And so there is a purpose for it on that level. I have no doubt other things are going on down there. But the child porn trade is alive and well.
That's fucking awful.
And it's fucking frightening. I spent probably 20 minutes exploring. I said, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like
I don't have a credit card. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
It was scary, but at the same time, it's fascinating. They say the internet that we know is the iceberg that sticks out of the water.
Oh,
and the
absolutely.
dark web is what's underneath. And I tend to believe that.
Oh no, it's fucking awful. That that shit is happening, and it's fucking so god awful. I mean, what the fuck?
Okay, but we just talked about how one of the most charitable porn sites in the world is Pornhub. They're actually a reputable business. If you actually look
at none of those girls are forced into what they're doing.
Not the point though. 90% of it, it's
you know what I
brother
mean?
and sister porn.
Yeah, right. It's all family. It's a family website.
Yeah, and we're turned off by that.
Yeah, they're trying to bring those fuckers up to the surface.
Oh, go. I tell you, go under.
Yeah.
I think everybody deserves a shot to go look around and then realize just how nice things are above the water.
No, I don't think I could get in there. I don't think I could do it.
Craig, you could get guns for nothing. Nothing.
I don't. I would rather get the guns the way I get them.
Look at
what do you mean when you say nothing? What do you mean?
A handful of favors to be determined.
Yeah. What do you mean by nothing, though? Nah. I as much as I like to stay within the law and within a certain morality code. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing that can put me outside of that. So.
Oh my God, this is like in Batman Begins where they drove under the subway and they went down to hang out with the mob boss. And you know how like the whole city changes, like Gotham isn't a pretty city to begin with, but it gets really dark under there. That's the visualization I have when I get into the Tor browser.
Oh, okay.
Like the browser gives you one last warning. They're like, you can use this for anything you want, but on the off chance you're here for why we think you're here, click this link. That's the directory. You go down, and it's really hard to find your way out. You can get lost down there and find any. You want to find stolen credit card numbers. You want to find checking account numbers. Every time you get hacked, where do you think that hack lives?
Yeah, that's where it goes. Yeah,
it's all under there. But I mean, it's readily available. If you have enough Bitcoin, you can buy somebody's bank account, including people of note.
Really?
Yeah.
People of reputation and status. I'm sure half of Hollywood has got some of their credit card information down there.
And people absolutely.
Are buying it just to have access to it.
That's insane.
It's frightening. It's
frightening. And probably like taking little clips at a time. You know what I mean? Taking a little like instead of just wiping out their account.
$100 there. They spent that
Yeah,
You know,
they're not even gonna notice it. They're like, oh yeah, I must have spent that $100 over
yeah,
there.
their
You
financial
know what I mean?
planners paying the bills and not even looking at the breakdown.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure that's what's going on. But anyway, enough of that. I don't need to start getting tracked because of this fucking show.
All the guys at the FBI, we got him.
He finally admitted it.
Yeah.
So, Dave, you came up with a great topic. I'm going to introduce it.
Yeah, go right ahead.
That since we talked about going dark, not dark web, just going dark, getting off of the grid a bit, getting away from this news influx of just bad news.
Yeah.
And bad stories and things that aren't making us feel good. Like if you had to quarantine yourself for real, not just staying home and avoiding breathing on people. I mean, like a real quarantine. Let's call it like the desert island idea.
Yeah.
Like, what would you put in your media quarantine kit? That is the question you posed. I love the concept.
Yeah.
Can you explain it further?
Yeah, my thought was if we're talking about being on the grid, off the grid, what we do, but let's suppose you had a little bit of that media, that electronics available to you. And my first thought was you can bring with you 3 bands, 3 movies, and 3 TV shows to sustain your sanity for a while you're quarantined. Who you bringing with you? So
Huh.
Wow.
yeah, so I don't know if one of you guys wants to go first, but I know Brad, you kind of.
All you, brother. Well, it's your idea though.
All right,
I
so
mean,
I'll lead off. So my first 3 bands, like I've probably mentioned this before, but I'm a huge fan of OAR. They're a band to
Yeah.
me that's I can listen to all year. There's a lot of passion in their music. I just dig it. I'm a huge fan of Seven Dust, and the last one it took a while for me to really think on. And I know Brad was busting my balls while like, oh, it's gonna be Amon Amarth. Like that's my new
Should've.
band right now. I don't think I've been a fan of theirs long enough to say they're my band for lockdown. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the one you replaced it with is a natural progression, though. By
of
all
course
means.
it is. But like I landed on Kenny Chesney, and it's kind of a
course.
joke.
Well, you
guys can
need
laugh.
something to jerk off to for 5 minutes a day, right?
I mean, I know you guys are gonna bust my balls, but the reality is I've been listening to this for 20 plus years, on and off.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
No,
So it's
hey.
something that I always end up going back to
Well,
at some point.
You like it, man. Whatever.
That's
It is
it.
what it is.
Yeah,
If
Only
you
two
enjoy it,
kinds of
who
music,
gives
brother,
a shit?
good and bad.
The
And
other-
that's it. If you like it, you like it.
The other part of it is like I'm old enough, and I'm like I've gotten to the point in my life where I don't fucking care what you guys think. I like it. You guys can go fuck off for all I care. I'm still gonna listen to it. You know what I mean? And it's not just you guys. It's anybody. Like I want to
These
listen to
guys are probably gonna hate what I got.
it. But that's the thing. Like,
You know?
it doesn't affect my life. So I don't give a shit. You can listen to fucking Sesame Street all day. I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as we're not
Ooh.
locked in the same room, I'm good with it.
Well,
Yep,
that's just it. I
exactly.
mean, is this a true solo quarantine,
Yeah.
or do I have to share it with you guys?
Yeah, no, this is headphones.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what I'm.
you're
That's
listening
kind of
to
what I'm
your-
saying. Like this is
And,
your little solace. That's it.
Yeah.
well, but then by all means, have your Kenny Chesney, but those headphones better be noise canceling. And I don't mean for you. I don't want any sound leakage when you put on OAR and Kenny
Yeah.
Chesney and then try to talk to me about how rockin' Seven Dust is. You already blew it, pal.
Yep, exactly.
Anywho, Craig, who are your bands?
The first one was tough because I like, I want metal. And I love Megadeth and stuff, but like, I don't know, probably Metallica would be my one, like, because it's gonna be metal. I want
Yep.
some of that. I've loved them since when I was a kid, when they first came out. I was like, oh shit, this band. Followed them all the way through. Am I a huge fan of what they're doing now? Not really, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is.
I don't care what
You
anybody
know.
says. I love that new album.
But it is what it is, and so I would want that heavy aspect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then other than that, then I would want Zeppelin, which would be that in between rock and roll, that rock and roll, blues, and heavy aspect. I would have it all wrapped into one.
It's funny
And-
because if you think about it, Metallica is basically the Led Zeppelin of our generation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
They
yeah,
really are. I mean, to think about any band that changed styles as much as Led Zeppelin, it's Metallica, and
Yep.
yet still maintain their audience. You never saw Led Zeppelin go back to play clubs. You
No.
never, I mean, stadiums are bust. Even Iron Maiden, when they changed singers, went back and did theaters and clubs for a while because they
Yep.
weren't selling the tickets that they're selling now. Metallica never wavered, even though everybody's like, "I hate that album." They
They
still
would still,
showed up to see
yeah,
it.
Yep.
And
yeah,
Zeppelin was the
exactly.
same way until they tapped out, and they tapped out smart in 1980. Said, "We've got nothing left." And so I admire that. So I'm sorry for interrupting your segment, but I think there's an actual flow to
No,
what
it's
you're doing here.
input. Yeah, and and then like I said, like I like that bluesy, and I love blues. I love southern rock, and I think Zeppelin, not so much the southern rock part of it, but that blues part is covered kind of by that, and the rock and roll and everything I like. And then from there I would go Billy Joel, because just once in a while I want somebody not screaming at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to mellow out and listen to some actual classic, nice music.
Nice,
You know what I mean?
nice music.
Yeah.
What's the matter with the
Well,
But
no,
he plays
but
a
I'm
lot
saying,
of like classical, and he's written a lot of
yeah,
like
He also played
musicals and
classic
things.
rock.
Yeah.
He'll also
yeah,
jump
no,
listen to a Who song. The
Yeah.
guy's
yeah,
good like that.
yeah,
He likes punk. I mean, he grew up
yeah,
when he was coming out. Punk was huge, like old snotty British punk, but like
yeah, and that's
Sex
what he was doing. He was kind of, well, his first album, you could see he was trying to go that route.
he had a lot of things. He was in a metal band called Attila,
Yep.
which nobody knows, but it was like that
Yeah.
really early 70s metal sound. He was
Yeah,
also
he was. Yep.
doing classical music and composing. He loved punk, and he loved 50s doo-wop, which you
Yep.
didn't see him do until about 10 years into his
Till
career.
the
Yeah. To the
late
late
80s.
80s. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, not even the late 80s. It was like, what, 84, 85 when he did like Uptown Girl and all that stuff.
I
Like,
think it was like, yeah, that was like 87 or something like that. I
basically
guess.
anything that looked good in a leather jacket was Billy Joel. And that was
Yep.
really all he was about. And I've seen the guy 12 times, never
Yeah.
disappointed me.
Yeah.
No.
I grew up on Long Island. It's a rite of passage. We all have to go see Billy Joel at least.
I was a member of the Root Beer Barrel Club.
Were you really?
Yep.
No shit.
Yep.
Would have never pegged you for that, but I'm glad to hear that, man. He's good. Billy Joel's good.
Yep. No, yeah, I fucking love him. But yeah, that's what I would want, just to have that.
Nice.
I stayed
Movie?
all metal, man. I stayed all metal because I figure if I'm trapped in quarantine, I'm going to be angry and I need an outlet.
Yep.
All right. So who do you got?
I got everything Black Sabbath ever recorded, even that shitty mid '80s stuff where like there was like one original member. All of it's good. It's still bad. Black Sabbath is better than a good blowjob most days.
Wow.
Yep, said it. It's truth.
It's a good thing your wife doesn't listen to this show.
Well, if I got them, then she'd have something to complain about. But anyway,
Jesus. Oh, wow. We don't have any extra beds over here, just in case you're wondering.
no, it's fine. And by the way, we've been social distancing. It's fine. She's gonna laugh because she knows she still can go to bed, and I won't be expecting one, so it works out. For the death metal stuff, I like a band called Misery Index because they're smart, they're catchy, and yet they're still brutal.
All right.
And then Iron Maiden because they're fucking godly.
All right. So we covered our bands, we covered our musical bases. So why don't we talk about what movies we'd want? So this one's a little tougher, I think, because you have 3 movies that you can watch, and that's all you can watch in terms of movies during quarantine. So, Craig, what do you got?
Done.
What do you got?
Done.
What?
Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
All right, so you're stroking Spielberg.
Stroking it hard.
Yeah, you are. Jesus.
But you know what? Those are the 3 movies that defined my childhood.
Okay.
That
All right.
I went back to the theater to see them time and time again.
Yeah.
Like, done. Like, I'm going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. I can see that, man. Like those are, I guess, I don't say generation defining movies, but those are not only just classics, but those are something that those movies are 40 years old, all of them.
Yeah.
And they're still
Fuck you.
talked about today.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's what I mean, that's a no-brainer to me right there. That's what I would, because those are movies that I watch I watch them constantly.
Even now, like you would just sit down and would just pick, like go search.
If I sat downstairs right now, turned the TV on, and said Jaws, done watching it.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking is this? I don't know. I think there's a subtle difference between if it's on, you're gonna watch it versus actively looking
Well,
for the movie.
yeah,
I mean,
no, yeah, there is Godfather is one of those. If it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
Yep.
Fifth Element,
Yeah.
if it's on, I'm gonna watch it. Terminator, if it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's those, but those are the movies that I would want to be on.
Because
You
those
know what I'm
movies,
saying?
whether you stumble across them or you put them on yourself, you're gonna be interested no matter what.
No matter what.
I get
Yes.
because I get like there are some movies that I have to kind of they have to be on already, and I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, I want to watch that now. But if I went to look for it, I'm not as interested. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you on that. I'm totally with you on that.
I'll give you an example.
Goodfellas.
I was gonna say like John Wick for me is one of those movies. I fucking love that movie, but it has to be on TV. Like, oh shit, John Wick's on. I'm watching it. But if I couldn't sit down and be like, I feel like watching John Wick today, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Brad,
see
you
what
started
you're
to
saying.
chime in. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say anything like Goodfellas or anything like that. I almost prefer to stumble on them because not only is it like ending the endless search to find something to watch,
Good, yeah.
harder and harder. But yeah, I'm getting tired of hunting down everything. Which I got Netflix, I got Amazon, I got Hulu. I'm getting tired of going through their endless menu systems to try to find things and then realizing I can get through all the exposition of the movie. If I get to Goodfellas and they're getting to like the heist, the airport heist, I already know shit's about to get real good.
Yeah.
And then they're going to play Eric Clapton and they're going to find all the dead bodies, including the guy back in the freezer truck and everything. And I'm going to be thrilled.
Yeah.
And it's all the best parts of the movie right there without having to worry about his dad beating him with a belt because he didn't go to school for 2 months.
Right.
Or shit like that. I think that's almost a better way to find something. We used to flip channels as kids.
Yes.
There was a sport in it. There was like, oh, this is a great movie, and you leave it, and you felt like it was a sense of accomplishment. Now everything is voice controlled, remote controls, because using our thumbs apparently is too much exertion.
Yeah.
It's getting stupid after a while, and there's no sport in it anymore.
No, it's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. For me, there was a few. I actually had to think about this a little longer. And Brad, you and I share one of the movies, and I hadn't gotten there yet, and we were typing at the same time. But you mentioned The Crow, and I was like, yeah, I watch that movie every single year on Halloween.
I love that movie.
Watch it.
When I got the VHS, I think I wore it out.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say that. It's kind of like this rote and repetitious thing people say. I wore out my No, I think I did because I rewound it. The first night I had it, I must have watched it 3 nights in a row. I passed up on a frat party because I had The Crow.
Nice.
And I stayed alone in my room and I watched The Crow at least 4 times.
Yeah. I mean, to this day, my wife knows on Halloween, she's like, all right, I'm going to bed. You watching The Crow? Yep. I'll sit by myself.
Is it just Halloween?
Yeah, every year, Halloween, I watch it. If it's on,
you don't watch it any other time of year though.
No, if it's on and I stumble across it, I'll watch it. But that's the only time of year I will go find it and put it on myself.
See, to me, that's one of the few movies that goes against what I just talked about.
Really,
I actually want to see it from the beginning because I think the whole setup and the exposition of his story is vital in setting the tone for why you want to watch it again. Because in my opinion, and this is going to sound as corny as fuck, but I've already said it on the air at least twice, I think it's the ultimate love story.
Yes, you've gotten laid to this movie.
I think, yes, I have. Because everybody's like, oh, is it a superhero movie or is it a vampire movie? What is it? And I'm like, it's the ultimate love story. A guy literally comes back from the dead to avenge the death of his wife or girlfriend at the time. I think that is not only a great way to get laid, but also a great way to kind of remind you of the gravitas of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's why it was a better than average comic book and one of the few that I could actually read, graphic novel, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm hijacking everything now.
No. I pulled you in because like that's a movie you and I both share in terms of what we enjoy. One of the better movies. I mean, the other ones I put in there, I thoroughly enjoy the movie Inception. I think it's a fun, clever movie. I could watch that time and again, even though I know all the twists and things. I fucking love that movie. It's just smart.
Is it one of those movies that reveals more every time you've seen it? Because I'm embarrassed to admit I've never seen it.
It's one of those where there's little details and nuances that once you know the plot, the next time you see it again, you look for those things to see what if they hinted towards what the reveals were. Do you know what I mean? So it
Yeah,
almost
I
makes
love
it
that
better. Like I know what happens. Let me go back and watch it again to see what I should have seen coming.
A lot of the TV shows we like now, The Sopranos and The Sons of Anarchies, and these highly produced big budget TV shows. If you actually go back and watch them, I've seen The Sopranos probably 40 times at this point,
Well
front to
thought
back.
out.
But if you actually watch it, they tip their hand pretty early
Yeah.
about certain characters that you never pick up on even 10 times in.
Right. They
But eventually,
they wrote they wrote an entire story start to finish before they filmed an episode.
Yeah.
And that's like this movie to me is one of those things too. Like that's why I enjoyed that.
I'm
And
gonna have to check that out.
yeah, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. I enjoy his movies in general. I think Christopher Nolan
Yeah.
makes really they're smart and they're engaging
creative.
movies. Yeah, it's a different take.
He
on
doesn't regurgitate a story that's been done.
It's funny that you said regurgitate as you were like choking back burps. and
Yeah,
stuff.
I was
Yeah.
choking back a burp.
You disgusting slob. He uses a lot of the same actors, and I get that. Like you get relationships with people and they use that. But the movies he makes, and he and his brother write a lot of them, which is I also find interesting. He's not taking someone else's stories.
Yeah.
I find that fun. But the only other movie I thought of was Shaun of the Dead. I think is one of the better monster apocalypse movies that have been made in the last 50 years.
I'll agree with that.
It's fun and
no argument.
it makes me laugh, and I can anytime I can watch and be like, yeah, it's fucking great. I love this movie.
I think Shaun of the Dead got watched more this week than Outbreak or Contagion or any
Probably.
of those movies. Because in reality, what is everybody talking about on the web now? We're drinking every day
Yep.
because we don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
And everybody's treating this like it's the end of the world. And that's exactly what they did in Shaun of the Dead. And that was the most human reaction.
Go to the Winchester, have a pint, wait for it
Yeah.
to all blow over.
Yeah.
I will take that over a 90 people screaming, "Why is this happening?" Ah! A million times. That is not a real human reaction. People will just be screaming "fuck" repeatedly.
Like there's a reason why the Commonwealth of Massachusetts dictated that liquor stores are essential businesses and can stay open. That says a lot about our society.
That wasn't for guys like us. That was for alcoholics who were going to go crazy if they don't have their booze.
Yeah, probably.
That was a preventive measure more than anything. And I mean, I got to agree. Like, you take drug addicts and alcoholics and cut them off from their supplies because they're non-essential. You watch how quickly they're roaming the streets worse than coronavirus.
Oh, and they start going to people's houses. Oh yeah.
Did you see the video that Simon Pegg and
Yes.
what's his name Frost
Nick
did?
Frost.
They did the exact Nick Frost. They did the exact thing from Shaun of the Dead
Yeah, it
about
was
the
good.
COVID virus.
Yeah.
They were on the phone. He's like, nope. He's like, all right, do not. He's like, do not go to the fucking pub.
Yeah.
He's like, stay away. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was very clever.
I got to give those guys credit, man. They have gotten so much mileage out of what was supposed to be a throwaway comedy.
Yeah.
You got to hand it to them.
Fantastic.
Anyway,
those guys are funny as hell.
Yeah.
TV shows, Craig, go.
TV shows.
In your media quarantine, now this is what you're going to watch for the rest of your natural life.
For the rest of my life, I am going to probably watch, I would say, It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Then In Betweeners.
Awesome call.
Then Game of Thrones.
Awesome call.
Nice.
Not so awesome.
Oh, see, I'm with Craig on Game of Thrones. I had that one too.
You know, I honestly stuck on an island, probably just to have conversation. If we ever cross paths, I probably would watch Game of Thrones all the way through. Because what the fuck else do I have to do? But Dave, if you do nothing else, I'll watch Game of Thrones if you watch The In-Betweeners. Best thing Craig ever did for me.
All right.
I watched it. I've watched it 3 times through because it's only 3 seasons, and then they have the movies, which are okay. But
the first one was good. The second one sucked.
Yeah, but the series itself, I've watched 3 times through.
It's
like
brilliant.
It's fucking hilarious. It's the best show fucking ever made.
All right.
Bold statement, Dave. I know you've got an argument.
No. I don't have an argument. I think that's he's got. I mean, Craig's got funny, and something you can get into. Like I said, I agree with Game of Thrones. Like I that to me is one of those immersive type shows that you get into, and I could watch it all the way through again. Um, I also wanted Seinfeld. Seinfeld always makes me laugh. It's it's that show that's like those everyday situations. Like it's just silly, stupid. It's just kind of goofy. And then I threw in Teen Titans Go,
which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Right.
I don't have to think about anything. It's just a fucking dumb, silly laugh because it's a fucking
funny
cartoon.
as fuck.
Yeah,
to me, it's funnier than Seinfeld.
Yeah,
because in my opinion, Seinfeld, the one thing that takes me out of it is that we have cell phones now, and almost 99% of Seinfeld problems would be solved. It's like Three's Company and even Frasier, to a certain extent.
Yep.
It's all misunderstandings based on overhearing something. A text would solve 90% of Seinfeld.
Yeah, I get that.
And I get that it's not really about that. I'm not trying to overthink it, but to me, it's got to be. I've got to be able to put myself in every situation. Like I got to relate to Tony Soprano. I've got to relate. I've never related to anybody on Seinfeld.
That makes sense.
And then that's the thing that's weird because he's a New Yorker. He's got neurotic friends. You think that'd be me in a nutshell, but it actually isn't. It's just nothing I ever got. I also never found him funny.
I've never found Seinfeld funny. No.
I like George. I think George is a riot.
Yeah, well, that's because he's based on Larry David.
The show overall is funny.
Yes.
I mean, if it's on in the background, there's a great scene. I mean, you mentioned it a few episodes ago when Kramer put on those tight pants and he couldn't bend his legs.
Oh, yep.
That's a masterclass in physical comedy.
Yeah.
Like the guy's brilliant when he does that. There's a few other things. I mean, her with the toilet paper in the stall. It's kind of relevant now. Sparing a square.
Can't spare a square.
Yeah.
Is he sponge-worthy? Things like that. I get it. There's some funny shit there. To me, I like things that are a little more timeless. Like I said, the Sons of Anarchy, that's just Hamlet being played out on Harleys.
Okay.
By terrible actors, yeah.
Maybe. But the story is timeless. The story is timeless.
See,
Jax was the horrible.
I would pick The Shield before I pick Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, The Shield is good. That's a good call. I like The Shield. I liked Dennis Leary. What did he do? I liked Cheers. I think Cheers is timeless.
Cheers was good. But Cheers is timeless because it's a bunch of people in a bar, and that's never going to go out of style.
And you know what's crazy? Even in the realm of cell phones where everybody has all the answers at their fingertips, bar arguments still happen.
It's still going to happen.
Bar conversations still happen, and people get into argument, not like fights, but arguments over things that are very easily solved because it's better to have the conversation than just end it. And I think, it's the journey, not the destination, right? So that's that.
Yeah. All right. So those are things we want to take and things that we would want to do. And something, New York's banned something. I don't know if you guys are interested in doing this. If you want to do it, go nuts. But New York, they didn't ban it, but they've declared a war on it. And that's rim jobs. Eating ass.
I'm just happy I don't live in New York City.
Yeah. So they've actually, they're pushing it. Like, don't eat ass.
Well,
it's going to be
pushing
bad.
it, I think, is the point.
So, yeah. So I think we need to round it up. We need to round up on this one. And I think what we need to do is figure out what would the campaign billboard slogans be?
Before we even get into it, I got to say, you tell a bunch of New Yorkers not to do it. Everybody in that city is getting their ass eaten right now.
Everybody's going to look like they have a mustache like Dave.
It's like the sales on the Aruba in New York are going to go up through the fucking roof. All because you told a bunch of people stuck in their apartments that they can't do it.
Yeah.
Nobody is voluntarily eating ass unless they're really fucking pervy.
No, exactly.
But all right, so what are the campaign billboard slogans? Craig, you let us in, you lead off.
I'm going to say avoid the roid.
Oh, man, Domino's, huh?
Oh, how about COVID-19? No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I said, having a bad day, rimming in COVID-19 will make your whole week.
Jesus.
I was like, don't do the do.
Jesus. How about even Batman is parking out front right now?
How about no? Corona said to salt the rim.
Oh shit! Oh, follow your nose. It always knows.
I does.
Yeah.
How about car rims? Yes. Spouse rims? No.
Jesus. I said the darker the berry, the sicker the juice. Those are dingleberries if you haven't caught on.
I said, double your pleasure, double your fun, but don't lick leather pennies.
I have never heard that term before. Leather pennies.
Oh God, I can't wait to go upstairs and make change later.
Oh.
Sorry.
Dave, send the video as always.
Yeah. How about I went a little political. My next one. How about don't drain the swamp?
Oh. I said that ass will take your breath away.
How about instead let your fingers do the walking?
Nice.
How about snap into a Slim Jim, not Jim's rim?
Oh yeah. I just had one more good one, and it was a Jefferson's reference because moving up that ass will make you wheezy.
And my last one was it takes a licking, but remember it was just shitting.
And scene.
And that's where we flush it. That was perfect.
Absolutely. Beautifully done, gentlemen. To everybody out there that's still with us, thank you for hanging in. We tried some new technology tonight. The verdict is out. We don't know yet what this is going to sound like. All signs are pointing towards this sounding a little more natural, a little warmer, a little more like we're together. But we're going to be doing this for the foreseeable future. So hopefully we nailed it this time, but we're going to keep doing what we have to do to optimize it. In the meantime, if you want to get us without weird wheezing and noises and everything else, go check us out at the all-new needless to say podcast.com. If you ran out of toilet paper, you can go over to the swag shop at represent.com/store/NTS podcast. They're good for multiple uses, by the way, assuming you don't puke when you see what you produced. Throw them right in the wash and then get right back to business. Check us out on social media. We're still staying active. We're still trying to be connected. Obviously, we're all a little disconnected, but if we can be a part of your quarantine, we'd love to do it. So check us out on social media. On Twitter at NTS_podcast, on Facebook at NTS_podcast, and on Instagram at all lowercase needless to say podcast. If you get there and you see a dude with a really weird mustache, I assure you it's not a weird place on the dark web. It's just Dave. Dave, while I'm talking about you, give me a little bit about Endeavor Podcast Solutions.
Yeah, so our friends at Endeavor Podcast Solutions can help you out with anything podcast related. They can give you ideas, help you get started, help you edit with audio, give you intros, outros, anything that you might need with your podcast, they can help you out with. So check them out at EndeavorPodcastSolutions.com.
And as much as I'd love to have a guest with us tonight to bring us out, I'm just going to do it myself. Needless to say, we said it.